After today, we're going to mix it up, okay? I'm going to ask you to consider a bunch of examples, and you're going to have to determine, do I use sine law? Do I use cosine law, right? What do I use here? Everybody at home, you can see my screen, right? If I can get 6 or so that folks saying yes, if you type that in, that'd be great. Because I had a problem this morning. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Thank you, folks. Appreciate that. And you're still awake. At least 6 of you are. That's good to hear. Okay. Thank you, folks. Thank you, thank you, thank you. More than 6 are awake. That's good. Okay. Thank you, Clark. I gave you the answers, right? So I'm hoping that you gave it a try. So I'm going to do one of each. That's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to do question 1 and 3. Question 1 and 3, and you're going to be on your own for the rest because the answers are there on the side here. And then I will look at mixing it up, at identifying what should you be using. So go find this worksheet. You have it, right? You should have this somewhere in the handout package that I gave you. I had someone help me put this together, so I hope that one wasn't missed. Brady, you're looking for it. Lane, do you have it? Yeah. Let me know if you think you don't have. I see the package. Should be somewhere following that. Yeah, keep flipping through it. It should have this heading. Okay. The reason I like this question is that you have an obtuse. I hope you know the difference, right? Obtuse, right? Greater than 90, right? Acute, less than. And then right is exactly 90 degrees, right? So that's obtuse. You can have one like this next to it. Acute, you have one that's like this. And right, we normally have a little box joining the two lines that form the angle, okay? Probably only gonna have time for these 2 examples, and I'm gonna have to dismiss you, okay? So first of all, let's pretend we don't know that this is cosine law, right? Like it doesn't say that. So we're looking at it, and I told you that the only 2 cases would be all 3 sides given or SAS. And there's one formula for each one of those cases, which you have to have on your study sheet, or else you'll be in trouble. Okay, go back and check the lesson on that. So this is clearly sine angle sine. So this is an SAS. You can find the side across from it, and this is how we find it. X squared is equal to the other 2 sides squared and added. So it almost looks like a Pythagorean theorem at first. Minus 2 times 20 times 21, right? And at the end, you have cosine of 111 degrees. Now, what you need to understand that cosine and sine attached to an angle is actually a number. It's a value. The calculator can spit it out immediately. What would cosine of 111 give you without even typing it in? Will it be positive or negative? We talked about an obtuse angle giving us a negative value, and there it is. So if you're not typing this in one shot, you have to be mindful of that, because this negative and this negative in front of that whole expression will actually turn positive. A negative times a negative will turn positive. If you have a calculator like mine and you type it in one shot, you do not have to worry about it. So my next line will be this. Watch, I take the square root already because a lot of students forget that. So I like to get rid of that squared and put a square root and type all of this in. Okay, so 20 squared plus 21 squared minus 2 times 20 times 21 times cosine of 111. And you get this. This is what you should be getting. I would strongly encourage you to try to type this in to your calculator and use all decimals. It's not that hard, right? Just type it all in. And then your next, see, in 3 lines you're solved. This thing is done. In 3 lines. Boom, setup. Find this whole thing as a decimal, take the square root. So press the square root button, hit equals, that's 33.79. And we are in inches? Yeah, inches. You're done. 3 lines, that's all it took. Okay. I encourage you to try the same thing with the second one, which is supposed to be 8.22. Okay. So I will now go to the third question. All right, so 3 sides. I definitely know that this is a cosine law scenario. They're asking me to solve for this angle right here. And so you go ahead and do that, right? And the way we solve this one is different, okay? In this case, you need to go cosine of that angle, in this case it's x, is equal to, put a line down. Whatever you do, make sure that the side across from that angle goes first, minus 8 squared, like that. And then you take the other two, square them and add them, like that. It could be decimals, it could be, right? You name it, you just write it down like that. And then in the denominator, it's 2 times 2 times 7. So the 8, like this side that's opposite that angle, doesn't show up again. It only shows up once, and it's important that you subtract it. Don't multiply the top. Some students go 2 squared times 7 squared times negative 8 squared. Like, don't do that. You will get an error if you do that. Cosine of x, let's figure out what the top is. So you go 2 squared plus 7 squared minus 8 squared. That's why it's important to have a good calculator. Negative 11. 2 times 2 is 4, times 7 is 28. Let's divide those. You get that. 4 decimals, right? And don't forget the negative. And then the last step is angle x is going to be cosine inverse of 29. This is the same thing as before, like in grade 10, 11, right? You would have to use the inverse to find the angle. So I'm going to go cos of negative 0.3929. That's 113. I'll write it down and then I'll show you what happens if you don't include the, oh, I probably used all decimals, that's why I got this. But if you use my steps, I will honor that. If you forget the negative, watch my calculator. If you drop that negative, you get an acute angle, right? It's only 66.86. So you got to watch out for that. And so I'm going to say homework, do the back side of this. Okay. See if I get the answers. If I find the answers, I'll give them to you before you go. So if you want the answers, just wait for me. The bell is gonna go in a bit. If you need to go, you go, right? I know I have the answer key right here. So Q is supposed to be 83.62 degrees. 83.62. For question 6, you get 90. You get 26.78 for B. Have a good weekend, guys. And you get 63.22 for C. So make sure you try this, okay? Have a good weekend, guys. Stay warm, enjoy the nice weather, go outside, okay? No video games, go outside. That's why I tell my boys all the time, like, no video games.